Oh, good question. So this actually started out when I was planning to, what you guys saw in the beginning, what led to us to make this record. And it was only about maybe, let's see, 4 months or 5 months of planning. And we did a lot in that amount of time, everything from picking the producers to just getting everything involved. And 2 weeks before I went to the studio, I thought to myself, you know what, I should probably bring a cameraman in and capture some of this, just to do like a 2-minute spot and put it on YouTube or something to help promote the record. And I ended up with a 72-minute film, as you guys can see, which was completely unexpected because we just got so much footage. And it was a real story that kind of just showed itself. With a film, you write a script, you go to shoot it. And even with documentaries, a lot of times beforehand, you will kind of do an outline of what you expect to get out of it, and you kind of contrive a little bit. This wasn't. This was literally, my editor isn't here right now, he's not able to be here, Matthew Dorman, who edited this and was the cameraman for most of it. I just said, point and shoot. And I kind of would know when there's a moment that was going to happen. And you just kind of feel it. Like, for example, there's that moment where I start crying there because I'm very overwhelmed. It's a few days in, we're so behind schedule, and he wasn't there, so I actually just gave my iPhone to my wife, Chelsea, and said, just record. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm feeling something burning me. So, long story short, yeah, that's basically, it was a crazy process. I didn't expect it to be this. I didn't expect to have my directorial debut here. I didn't expect any of it, which is, I think, the real exciting part of it. And the other part is that because of that, and I've never directed anything before, I've never edited anything before. I brought in, like I said, the cameraman did most of the editing, but I co-edited with him. I did a lot of stuff. I've never done that before, so it was about a year of my life afterwards to put this together. And the funny thing is, I say that the album was done. I recorded it in just over 2 weeks, but it took me a year to tell the story of recording it. So I can see you guys now, so you have to ask questions. Well, as you can see, we did 16-hour days. So, and I'm not sure if it could show that. I tried to show it by seeing me coming out of the apartments, but above the recording studio, there's actually apartments where Chelsea and I stayed. And literally, we'd finish. I'd finish at, I think it was midnight. I'd go upstairs, I'd crash in the bed. I would wake up again at 7 or 8 a.m. and head downstairs to record again for another 16 hours. So I dealt with it, honestly, by eating as healthy as possible, but just by having a great time. I mean, when you're enjoying what you're doing, it's not work. Just like anyone says, right? It didn't feel like 16-hour days. It was like, oh wow, it's the end of the day already. I want to keep doing this. So, and dealing with the filmmaking was a different thing. That was actually very stressful. It was a huge learning curve for me. Like I said, I've never done this before. So there was just the learning curve was very stressful. And there was a lot of problems, and we lost footage, and then we got it back, and all this crazy stuff. And like I said, it was just me and Chelsea helped produce it beforehand, the actual filming of it. She's right there, there's my little guy right there. And Matt and I, we just for a year, just worked on this nonstop, and it was a lot of work. So I don't really know how I dealt with the straight. I didn't really, a lot of panic attacks, a lot of anxiety attacks, and a lot of tears, and Chelsea, why am I doing this?
Did you actually ever find out what a number 3
I'm going to leave that up to you guys to tell me after when I'm out there what you think or know what number 3 is. I see my mom right there. Come on, you got to have a question, Mom. Sorry for all the swearing, by the way. I was back there like, oh, I'm cringing, my mom's watching this. MF bombs and, all these different things.
Yeah, how come I wasn't in it?
You were at the studio.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, geez. I don't want to say how old I'm going to be in 5 years. In all seriousness, I see another album out, and I think I'm going to carry on this kind of capturing the process because I think it's just going to be a whole other thing. Like at the beginning of this documentary, I shared what kind of led us to make the record, what my wife and I went through. But now we have a beautiful son, and he's right there if you guys can see him. He's a 2-year-old boy. We have another one on the way, another son on the way. So that's going to be an interesting process to be in the studio with 2 little munchkins running around. And they're trying to find the time to do all that, but it's going to happen, and I'm going to share that process again, I think, if anyone cares to see it again. Thanks for watching us, and thanks for seeing what it was like for me to do this. It's not an easy thing to do, especially as an independent artist. And thank you guys so much, seriously.